Imagine being the only ordinary person in a world full of extraordinary people. Your sister can control water, your best friend is the avatar, your enemies command fire, earth, air, even lightning, and well, you have a boomerang. On paper, Sokka should have been the least important member of Team Avatar. He has no bending, no prophecy, no hidden power waiting to be unlocked. He's literally just a kid. And yet, by the end of the series, he's one of the most beloved characters in all of animation. Not because he became stronger than everyone else, but because Avatar quietly teaches us something that most stories forget. Sometimes, the people who change the world aren't the most powerful. They're the ones who refuse to believe that being ordinary means being unimportant. When we first meet Sokka, he's trying very hard to be someone he isn't. He's loud, he's stubborn, he's constantly acting like he has everything under control. As a kid, I thought he was just the comedic relief, but watching the show again as an adult, I realized something different. He's scared. The men of the Southern Water Tribe literally just dipped and left for war, including his father. That meant Sokka, still a teenager, felt responsible for protecting everyone who stayed behind. Think about that. He's a child trying to become like his father. That's why he acts so seriously. That's why he constantly tells people what to do. He's not trying to control everyone. He's trying to convince himself that he's capable. And honestly, how many of us have done the same thing? Pretending to have everything figured out because we think everyone else expects us to. Sometimes life hands us responsibilities before we're ready. So instead of admitting we're scared, we wear confidence like an armor. So Sokka isn't really arrogant. He's terrified of failing the people he loves. Early on, Sokka has a very simple definition of strength. Strength is physical, it's masculine. Strength wins fights. Then he meets the Kyoshi warriors, and everything he believes gets shattered after Suki absolutely demolishes him in a 1v1. Suki defeats him effortlessly, and not because she's gifted, because she's trained, because she's disciplined, and she spent years becoming who she is. A good note to take from this is the old Sokka would have made excuses. Instead, he does something much harder. He apologizes. Then he asks her to teach him. I think that's one of the most underrated moments in the series. Not because Sokka learns to fight, because he learns to listen. Real growth begins the moment your ego stops speaking. How many times do we hold ourselves back simply because we're too afraid to admit we don't know something? Sokka's greatest strength isn't intelligence, it isn't strategy, it's humility. Because humble people keep learning, while proud people stop. As the journey continues, everyone starts becoming more. Katara becomes a master waterbender. Later down the line, she even learns blood bending. Toph invents metal bending. Aang learns earth bending, fire bending, and grows into the avatar the world needs. Even Zuko transforms from the enemy into one of the greatest firebenders alive. And Sokka, well, he still has Boomerang. Imagine what that must have felt like, watching everyone around you level up. Watching your friends discover talents you could never dream of having. Watching them become legends while you're wondering if anyone would notice if you weren't there. I think that's why so many people connect with Sokka, because most of us know exactly what that feels like. Scrolling through social media, watching classmates graduate, friends gain promotions, buying houses, and starting families. Meanwhile, you're wondering if you're falling behind. Because the hardest comparison isn't with strangers, it's with the people you love. Then comes one of my favorite episodes in the entire series, Sokka's Master. Most people remember it because Sokka gets a sword. And to be fair, it is a very cool sword. I remember it because of why he wanted one. He finally says out loud what he's been carrying since episode 1. Everyone else has something special, and I don't. And that sentence has probably crossed more people's minds than would like to admit. His master sees right through him. He doesn't teach Sokka that he's secretly powerful. He teaches him something much more important, that creativity is a strength, discipline is a strength, observation and leadership, these are strengths. The sword was never the point, confidence was. Because the lesson wasn't, now you're special too. It was, Sokka, you were always special. Here's something I don't think gets talked about enough. Who actually led Team Avatar? Now, most people will probably say Aang because he's the Avatar and he's mastering all 4 elements. But think about it. Who's planning the day of the Black Sun invasion? Who's designing submarines? Who's organizing rescues and solving problems where bending can't? Well, it's Sokka. He's not the strongest person in the room. He's the one making everyone's strengths work together. And that's leadership. And here's what I love about it. Nobody gives him that role. He earns it. He isn't born a genius. He becomes one because he never stops learning. I don't think people love Sokka because he doesn't have bending. That's just the surface. We love Sokka because he's just like us. Most of us aren't the chosen ones, or we're not prodigies. We're not the most talented person in the room. We're just people trying to figure life out, trying to protect the people we love, trying to become someone our younger selves could be proud of. Sokka never stopped feeling insecure. He simply stopped letting those insecurities decide who he could become. And I think that's a lesson worth remembering, because confidence doesn't come before growth. It comes after you survived enough moments where you thought you weren't enough. If anyone asked me when I was younger, what element would you want to bend? I'd be like, nah, nah, nah. I want to bend all four elements. I'm the Avatar. I'm just like Aang. And I really wanted to be Aang. Or Zuko. Or Toph. I wanted the powers, the incredible moments, the destiny. But the older I get, the more I realize most of us are just like Sokka. We're not the chosen ones. We're people trying our best, trying to carry responsibilities we don't always feel ready for, trying to believe we can become something we're contributing. And maybe that's why Sokka never needed bending, because his story was never about becoming extraordinary. It was about realizing he already was, not because of what he could do, but because of who he chose to become. And maybe that's what Avatar The Last Airbender was trying to tell us all along. Your value isn't measured by the gifts you were born with. It's measured by what you choose to do with them. And sometimes the bravest person in the room isn't the one who can move mountains. It's the one who keeps showing up, even after convincing themselves they don't belong. Because Sokka never proved that ordinary people can become extraordinary. He proved something far more important, that ordinary people were extraordinary all along. That's why Sokka proves you don't need powers to matter.